Hey, what's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here. Just gonna be talking about UFC Fight Night Blachowicz versus Rakic. It's actually worth noting that I did this as a collaboration with the Combat Station, who's a smaller YouTuber. He's also on YouTube. I believe he's going to be uploading his end on the on YouTube, so feel free to check that out. As always, if you want a 125% deposit bonus, feel free to jump on BetUS using my link below. And yeah, going from here will be my call and my collaboration with the Combat Station. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this format. From here on out, it probably will just be me kind of talking by myself, but every now and then, you know what, I'm pretty happy to jump on someone else's channel or have someone else jump on my channel and we can talk about fights. I'm pretty keen to do that, especially for the fight nights anyway. So yeah, feel free to hopefully enjoy the video. Leave a like if you liked it.
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, what's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here. We're going to be talking about UFC Fight Night Blachowicz versus Rakic. Should be pretty fun. I've got my notes ready. I'm ready to talk about the fights.
Now, mate, before we start, what do you rate the card out of 10?
For a fight night, it ain't too bad, but it ain't too great. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10 for a fight night. I reckon could be a little bit better, but it's still one of the better ones we've had this year, to be fair.
Mate, we can't complain the quality of some fight nights we've been getting recently. It's better than nothing.
Great. They haven't been great.
At least we've got a good main event. Now let's start. Let's share the screen. And can you see it, mate?
Yeah, I've got your screen. I can see your screen.
Okay, cool. Then let's start. Starting with the first fight of the night, we have Nick Maximov versus Andrea Petrovsky. Do you like to start it off, mate?
Yeah. So my pick for this fight is Nick Maximov. I'm pretty confident in it as well, to be fair. I think he's got much superior Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He trains with Nick Diaz. He's obviously out of the Nick Diaz Academy. But no, I can just see him definitely winning the fight by Andrea Petrovsky. He's also showed great wrestling as well against Punahele Soriano, who is more so known to be a striker, to be fair. But Punahele Soriano also has a pretty underrated wrestling as well, because he's a college wrestler. Nick Maximov is like a regional college wrestler as well, I guess you would say. He's got wrestling experience himself.
Now, I agree with you on this fight. I see Nick Maximov as basically the better fight all around. Maybe the wrestling is even, but I see Nick Maximov with better cardio, because obviously Andrea Petrovsky, he's gassed out in round 3 before. I believe none of them are good strikers, but I do maybe Nick Maximov has an alright high kick, so I know it's pretty even there. But as I said, Andrea Petrovsky, gas tank issues, and I see maybe the first round being competitive, maybe even going to Petrovsky. But Nick Maximov, as the fight goes on, will wear on him, and I believe round 3 submission, Nick Maximov, is maybe something that you can play, or just outright round 3.
I've got Maximov submission round 2 or 3 in this one, so yeah, pretty much agree with you on that one. And yeah, even then, Andrea Petrovsky against Michael Gilmore. Michael Gilmore actually had some moments in that fight, and Michael Gilmore proved to not be a UFC level fighter, so that's a big red flag in my opinion.
Michael Gilmore, no offense to the man, I'm just saying if we could get caught double legs, we have a chance to at least steal a round of him. So yeah, the man has no ground game.
Yeah, most people picking Maximov to win, but by decision. I think that's mainly based off the Soriano performance, but I think we could see Maximov probably win by submission in this one.
Okay, good, mate. Now on to the next one. We have Carlos Candelario versus Tatsuya.
Yep.
What's your opinion on the fight, mate?
Tatsuya, I think he's gonna win. I've seen a couple of people picking Carlos Candelario, but hey man, he looked sloppy. He looked sloppy in his Dana White's Contender Series fight. He had some very sloppy grappling exchanges with Victor Altamirano, and I feel like Tatsuya, he's just got a much better ground game than Candelario. I think that if they get into these sloppy exchanges, Tatsuya is able to put people where he wants them on the ground. I feel like we could see a submission, and even then, Tatsuya also has a great kickboxing game as well. And Candelario, he goes pretty hard out in the first round, but then he gasses pretty hard in the second and third. Tatsuya by late finish, in my opinion.
Now again, I agree with you on this fight, mate. Now Carlos Candelario, I thought he won his Dana White Contender Series fight against Victor Altamirano, but Victor Altamirano, I don't know if I rate him that highly, as he came to the UFC and he's lost his first fight. Now Tatsuya, he is a bit of an unknown commodity. He's had 10 fights in Japan. They haven't been bad competition, not the highest level. But from what I have seen, how he has dealt with his opponents, I believe he does look to be the real deal. Yeah. Now Carlos, obviously he gassed out going into the end of the second round in his Contender Series fight. So his cardio may be a liability. He recently had a 3-year layoff from MMA as well. So I do believe it is the right time for Tatsuya Taira to get him and most likely get a submission round 2 or 3. Because I do believe cardio looks good, jiu-jitsu checks out. His striking's a bit of a, I wouldn't say the best. Carlos probably has the advantage there. But I do believe with his youth, he should be able to get the win here and most likely round 2.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that massive layoff for Candelario. That was due to an injury as well, which is always a pretty big red flag as well. So yeah, I like Taira. As you said, not the highest level of competition on the regional scene, but still a lot better competition than what we've seen kind of in the past, like Nick Negumereanu, for an example, for only guys with losing records prior to the UFC. And Taira's been running through these guys, so I think that he should be able to beat a guy like Carlos Candelario in his UFC debut.
And just adding on to that, I have seen some very slick back takes from Taira. He does seem like a very skilled and promising prospect. Would you say that he is a parlay piece, maybe?
Yeah, I know that Blood Money MMA Bets has Tatsuya Taira in a parlay with someone later on the card, who's also another YouTuber. He's got Davey Grant and Tatsuya Taira at just over plus money, which I think is a great parlay. So yeah, Tatsuya Taira, I would say maybe you could put him in a parlay.
Now, yeah, I would agree with that. I'm personally thinking of maybe later on the card Jake Headley and Tatsuya Taira, but we will see. And on to the next one, we have Verna Janarova versus Angela Hill, a mid-level women's strawweight fight. They're always exciting.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna pick for this one then, because I feel like Verna Janarova only has the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu advantage, but then again, I feel like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu advantage could be enough to submit Angela Hill. But then Angela Hill, like she's got pretty good kickboxing. She's had so many split decision losses, so many close fights to a woman that actually have ended up in the top 10, top 5. So yeah, I feel like Angela Hill, if those split decision wins went her way, she would have a much better looking record. But for me, my notes have Angela Hill decision as the underdog, but I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't bet it at all. I'd stay well away from this fight.
Well, if the way I see this is betting this is basically you're not even betting on who you think's gonna win. You're just betting on who you probably like more, whose style you like more. Because let's just be honest here, Angela Hill, she has her last few fights. Tisha Torres, she's lost. That was quite a clear loss. Mandalema, she won, but she obviously got robbed. She got a win over what's her name again? Ashley Yoder.
Ashley Yoder. She ain't that great though, to be fair.
She is not on the best in the UFC. But Angela Hill, as you said, split decision loss to Claudia Gadelha, Michelle Watson. Claudia's
a lot of people
retired,
think that she beat Gadelha, and there's a few people that are arguing the win over Michelle Watson as well. So she could have been on a win streak at that point, to be fair. But
yeah, 100%. She even dropped Claudia, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, she did do that. Yeah.
So Angela Hill, she's obviously been making improvements later on to her career, but she has a few holes. I do believe maybe her ground game is a bit of a liability. She has been submitted, choked out before. Verna though, she has no stand up. She's the complete opposite of Angela Hill. Her weakness is her stand up. Amanda Ribas basically outstruck her after Verna had a good first round. Murrieta, obviously the shoulder injury, she got I believe a head kick, ruined her arm. She did survive on the ground with Mackenzie Dern, so it does show she does have quite a high level jiu-jitsu base. And then obviously she got the finishes over Felice Herrig, Mallory Martin, which are pretty basic wins. I don't know, I'll probably just take Verna from the fact that I believe she on the feet is probably less of a gap than on the ground. But yeah, no, 100%, as you said, mate, this is a fight I would 100% stay away from.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'll stay away from that. Hill is my pick, only because she's the underdog now, and I feel like Jandarova could easily get a submission. I would not be surprised, to be fair.
This should 100% be evens, I reckon. I don't even think anyone should be favorited. But coming up, we've got Mr. Inconsistent Michael Johnson versus Alan Patrick. Now, this is one of the hardest fights on the card to predict, just because you don't know what anyone's going to come in.
I agree. I don't really know what Alan Patrick is going to do. I've got Michael Johnson picked to win a decision. I think it's Blood Money MMA Bets again, who's all over Alan Patrick in this one here. That I don't know. I'm picking Michael Johnson to win. I think that Alan Patrick is is probably going to gas harder than Michael Johnson. I mean, Michael Johnson gassed hard in his last fight. In fact, he's gassed hard in his last couple of fights. But Alan Patrick, I'm expecting to gas just a little bit harder and just kind of have nothing left in the tank when Michael Johnson still has just that little bit. But yeah, I feel like Patrick potentially live for a submission or maybe even live for a KO in the first, because he just throws bombs with not a lot of technique, to be fair, in the first round, and then he gasses out. Michael Johnson, on the other hand, he's got decent boxing. He's also got that good wrestling background as well, and yeah, he's got wins that have aged very well, like wins over Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier, Etienne Barboza. There's even more names that you could throw in there that he's beaten as well.
Yeah, no, this fight is definitely this is another stay away from. I am gonna lean Michael Johnson, but for one reason only. If you do look at his last few losses, Thiago Moises just outside the top 15. Clay Guida, right now, he's a bit of a Indian summer as a career, having a little bit of a run later on. Obviously not to the top 15, but he's getting some wins against younger people. And he lost to Josh Emmett and Steve Ray, which ain't the best win. But Alan Patrick, I just said, he comes out swinging round one, tries to take your head off, tries to get you down, uses jiu-jitsu, finish you. But his last fight against Mason Jones, that is one of the worst beatings I've seen recently in an MMA fight.
Yeah, he took the easy way out in that one.
He got eye poked. I do believe he could have continued, and obviously, yeah, they stopped the fight and can't really do anything about that. He had a rematch booked against Mason Jones as well, and he pulled out weak of the fight, so I don't think he wanted the smoke from Mason Jones.
He doesn't want that smoke, man. He doesn't want it. He does not want that.
I'm European. I'm biased towards anyone from England, so I can't really say anything. But he, as well, before that, lost to Bobby Green, which obviously Bobby Green, from what he's shown recently, that's a good loss. But Scott Holtzman I wouldn't say is the best fighter. Now, this fight is just guessing, will Michael Johnson come in what sort of form will we be on? Because Michael Johnson, on his day, as you said, he's beat good fighters. He outboxed Barboza, got in his face, made it dirty. Tony Ferguson, Poirier. But then the guy that beat them fighters, let's see, we got Clay Guida lost. Steve Ray, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, Steve Ray came out of retirement recently, actually, on PFL, but he lost a pretty close decision.
Yeah, he lost, to Alex Martinez. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'll probably side of you, Michael Johnson. He's faster. I believe he has cardio for 3 rounds, but his takedown offense sort of deteriorated. But I believe Alan Patrick's gonna get tired, and then we may even get a Michael Johnson round 3.
No, I expect Michael Johnson to gas, but I don't expect him to gas as hard as Alan Patrick's gonna gas after that first round.
Yeah, 100%. So Michael Johnson, I'm gonna take him by probably round 2-3 TKO. And yeah, my advice to everyone here is stay away from this fight. It ain't worth it.
Yeah.
And coming up, we have women's flyweight fight: Viviana Arujo versus Andrea Lee. Now, this fight, I have quite a heavy lean, but you go first, mate.
Do you say that you do have a heavy lean, or you don't have a heavy lean?
I do have a kind of heavy lean, but it's only off the last performance. I would have probably had leaned the other way if it weren't for the last fight. But yeah,
I'm assuming that you're on the Andrea Lee side.
Yeah, Andrea Lee.
Well, I'm on the Andrea Lee side, but my notes are very scarce for this one. I don't have a good read on this fight whatsoever. All I've really got is that Andrea Lee's the younger fighter, and she's made the most improvements recently since that losing streak. I think she's better on the feet than Arujo, and if she needs to, she probably could take the fight down for some control time. And on the fight, on the feet as well, I do think that Andrea Lee just has the more well-rounded game. I feel like she's got more to throw at Arujo, and yeah, I feel like the body shots in Arujo are probably going to be pretty key for Andrea Lee to win a decision. But that's all I've got. I don't really have much of a read on this fight whatsoever, and I'm pretty open about that. I don't know what's going to happen, but I've got Andrea Lee in a close decision as my official pick.
Mate, that's fair. It's a women's flyweight fight. I also lean Andrea Lee as well. The thing with her is I just believe I probably wouldn't have such a strong lead if it weren't for her last fight against Cynthia Calvillo.
Yeah,
she came out, stuffed every single takedown out of shot her, and boxed Calvillo up. And Calvillo, she's shown to be an alright women's flyweight.
Yeah, Cynthia Calvillo, and then when she was up and coming, there's a lot of hype behind her when she was Cody Garbrandt's what's it called? They went to the same gym together at the time, and obviously Garbrandt was hyping her up, and she was making her debut, and she won a few fights in a row, kind of to started out, yeah.
Yeah, Calvillo ain't a bad fighter. Now, Arujo, obviously, she lost to a good fighter who's fighting later on the card, Caitlyn Chuchagin. And to be fair, every woman's flyweight in the division loses to her right now. That ain't Shevchenko or Andrade, because she's that awkward. But before that, she got a win over Roxanne Modafferi, which can't complain about. Andrea Lee has lost to Roxanne, which is just one of them weird women flyweight things that happen.
Yeah, that's a weird fight, to be fair.
And she beat Montana De La Rosa before that, who capable women's flyweight.
Yeah, she's not too
ain't
bad.
The best. She's up there, but Jessica Ailos
hasn't aged well. Has not aged well.
No. So I'm gonna probably take Arujo. She's good. She's alright Muay Thai. Powerful woman. She definitely has power going forward. She dropped Roxanne on her face. So yeah, no, she's alright. But Andrea Lee, I reckon she's probably gonna be able to get the victory here. Out volume her. And yeah, no, I believe she will win a decision. Probably split decision under division, but decision nonetheless.
Yeah, I respect it. I'm thinking Andrea Lee. I don't have that much confidence in it though, to be fair.
Same here, mate. And coming up, we have fellow Brit Jake Headley versus Alan Ascrimento. Now, this is definitely a good fight. I'm very excited for the debut of Jake Headley. He was meant to fight in the UK, but here he is now. Who you leaning to, mate?
Oh, I'm all over Jake Headley. I think he's a great prospect. I was all over him in Dana White's Contender Series when he was fighting Mitch Raposo. Mainly because I wasn't really sold on Mitch Raposo, because I know that they were probably trying to build Raposo up as a prospect. And whoever was going to win that fight was obviously going to get in the UFC and probably make a pretty big name for themselves. I think Headley's the guy, you know what I mean? Like, he's a young guy, he's not even 26 years old yet. He's fought all over the world already on the regional scene. He's fought for Cage Warriors. He was the Cage Warriors champion. I mean, he fought in Bellator as well and got a win there. He fought against Nakimolu Zulu. I think that was even in South Africa. Like, this guy was like 22, 23 years old. He went to South Africa just for a fight, you know what I mean? I think Jake Headley's something special. There's a reason why the UFC snatched him up, even though he missed weight, because if the UFC didn't snatch him up, Bellator or maybe even like ONE FC or someone else would have snatched him up and put him on an exclusive contract and locked him out of the UFC. So that's the reason why Dana White took him. I know Sean Shelby didn't want him because he missed weight, but there's a reason why Dana White signed this guy even though he missed weight.
Yeah, no, 100% Jake Headley. But as you said, he's fought over the world, different promotions, and he is a very solid fighter from what I've seen. I really like it. Now his opponent Alan Nascimento, he is alright. Obviously, he had his UFC, fought a lot outside the UFC, but then lost on Dana White Contender Series to Julian Paiva, who ain't the worst loss. But this fight against Tagir Ulanbekov, the whole fight, he spent most of it on his back, but his guard game did look dangerous. I wouldn't count him out of this fight. If Jake Headley, because he is inexperienced, maybe he could snatch a submission, but any other way of victory, I see Jake Headley winning the decision. If there's a knockout, it'll probably be Jake Headley by TKO on the ground. If there's a submission, probably Al Nascimento, but I could see maybe Jake Headley getting a rear naked choke later on. I just see this being Jake Headley, unless there is a submission from Alan Nascimento early on in the fight. So yeah, no, I'm definitely going to view, and I believe parlay piece Jake Headley definitely.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like super like a parlay piece, as you said, but I'm confident in him to win. The problem though is in the past we have seen Jake Headley take some shots and not take them too well. Alan Nascimento fighting out a shoot box, and the shoot box guys are pretty notorious for being quite aggressive on the feet, so maybe Alan Nascimento could see that as a hole in Jake Headley's game and try and utilise that, but if he gets a little bit over aggressive, Jake Headley's going to shoot for a takedown. Both guys probably do want the fight on the feet because Nascimento does have a great jiu-jitsu game, but so does Jake Headley, but I just see Jake Headley as being the prospect with the highest ceilings. Definitely a prospect to keep your eye on for sure. I can definitely see Jake Headley making a big name for himself in the flyweight division, like Muhammad Makayev has already, you know. So I'm pretty big on Jake Headley, yeah.
100%. Who do you think is the better prospect, just quickly out of interest?
I know the MMA guru. Sorry. Oh, you're talking about Tatsuya Torres.
No, I'm saying out of Tyra or Jake Headley. MMA guru's my guy as well. Respect his videos.
I think
Jake Headley.
I think Jake Headley, but I was going to say that MMA Guru thinks Jake Headley's a better prospect than Muhammad Makayev, but I've got to disagree on that one personally. Muhammad Makayev, his amateur run is too good for me to ignore, really.
No, I watched MMA Guru say that. I don't know, I rate both of them. Probably Makayev though, just because it's just a wrestling, innit? And as well,
I
his
love
last fight, he
Muhammad
looked so
Mokaev.
good.
I like his personality, man. I like him, and he's so young as well. He's in like 22
Yeah.
years old, and like no, 21 years old, isn't he? He's super young.
Yeah. How many amateur fights he have as well? Like 30 amateur fights, 20 amateur
It
fights.
was 23 and 0. He went 23 and 0 as an amateur.
Jesus Christ, what an animal.
Yeah, he's good.
Now-
Multiple time world amateur champion. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people or diehard MMA podcasts. I saw him. He comes out with the Dana White Contender Series fade, and he's bet on Frank Camacho. But you know, I don't know if I see
Yeah.
it. But, man, on to you.
I don't know about that one. Yeah, I respect the Dana White's Contender Series fade because Dana White's Contender Series 2021 guys, I would say about 70% of them have lost their UFC debut this year, which is absolutely insane to kind of say because Dana White's Contender Series is a pretty good platform in my opinion. It's a great platform to get into the UFC, but this year Dana White signed so many guys off Dana White's Contender Series, and I feel like maybe some of them weren't meant to be there. Manuel Torres, I feel like there is potentially an argument to be made. But no, I'm still picking Manuel Torres to win. Oh, I picked him to lose to Colton England actually. Sorry, because I thought Colton England was going to beat him. Because Colton England is actually a guy that I have had my eye on the regional scene for not too long, but I had my eye on him before he fought Manuel Torres. Then Manuel Torres knocked him out pretty early. So, and then even Frank Camacho, he signed to the UFC when he was like 20 wins with 4 losses. I think his run in the UFC is 2 wins to 5 losses. Like if he loses this one, he's going home for sure. But I mean, the guy got knocked out by, who was it? Justin James. He got knocked out by Justin James. So Justin James went on a terrible UFC run. You know what I mean? And then he lost outside of the UFC after that. So, yeah, that's not a good look for Frank Camacho. It's the chin. I don't know if I can trust the chin against a guy like Manuel Torres who's just going to try to take his head off in the first round. So.
No, 100%. He's gone through so many wars, Frank Camacho, as well. Manuel Torres, his win over Colton England, obviously, as you said, he stopped him. It was a bit of a weird situation when happened in a fight where breaking out the clinch, he like put his fingers in his eye, and the ref didn't see it, and then Colton England pointed, and then he just got left hooked and dropped. So obviously, I do respect that from Manuel Torres, though. Even though he did poke him, you know, he got the win no matter what. So
yeah,
you got.
I do like England as a prospect, to be fair.
England is a good fighter.
Yeah,
and just out of principle, he's got. Manuel Torres, powerful guy, submissions, and knockout power. Frank Camacho, as you said, Justin James, which Charles Rosa beat him.
Oh,
Justin James, Benil Dariush, which I can't talk shit about that. The win,
Dariush top 5 lightweight right now, man. So
he beat Nick Kine, who I believe ain't even in the UFC, and then Jeff Neal. He got brutally head kicked. He took damage in round 1, but you can't take that much damage off Jeff Neal. And then lost to Drew Dober. So the losses ain't that bad.
It did go the distance to Drew Dober, which, to be fair, is somewhat impressive. But no, even then, I can't trust the chin of Frank Camacho at this point. Like, he's a good fighter. He had a great regional run, 20-4 before signing to the UFC. But no, just since he's gotten to the UFC, and especially in his last few fights, he's been shown to be a little bit chinny. When you're fighting a hungrier guy, I think Manuel Torres is going to be a lot hungrier than Frank Camacho. Although Frank Camacho has everything to lose in this one, I think the hungrier guy will be Manuel Torres, and I can push him to win in the first round. But the thing is with Torres though, he could prove himself to potentially be a round 1 or bust fighter. You know what I mean? Like he could be only round 1 or nothing, like in the UFC that is. So. Maybe this could be a big showing for Torres to prove himself. Maybe he gets around 1 KO as a lot of people expect, or maybe Camacho takes over in the second and third if Torres gasses.
I do think maybe a bet of Torres inside the distance, because obviously he does have submissions and knockouts. That would be probably the best route to go on this, because as we said, Frank Camacho is.
I reckon it's probably something to stay away from, but maybe. I don't know how big of an underdog Camacho is now. I mean, he's probably a bigger I think he's actually a smaller underdog than he is on Tapology, because I think money's coming on the Camacho side. Probably a fight to stay away from, but yeah, maybe fight doesn't go the distance. Maybe Camacho can find a finish on a gas Torres if Torres gasses out, but I'm expecting Torres to win inside the distance. Yeah,
okay, that's fair enough. So we both agree on that fight, I think, barely. But
yeah,
no,
it ain't a confident fight, that's for sure.
100%. And now we have everyone's favorite fighter, Caitlyn Chukagian, the woman that just will not lose. She loses to Andrade. After that, decision.
Yeah, Chukagian isn't finding any finishes anytime soon, to be fair. But actually, with that being said, Amanda Ribas, when she has come up to 125 in the past, she has taken a bit of damage. So, and she did get knocked out by Marina Rodriguez. So maybe Chukagian could find a finish. Well, I don't think so. I think we're gonna see Caitlyn Chukagian outstrike Amanda Ribas here to a decision win. Is my official pick. Yeah. And I think if she wins this fight as well, by the way, sorry. I think if she wins this fight, she may have earned a title shot at 125.
I don't know. I think they may use her beating Ribas, who is ranked the weight class below, as maybe a. I don't think they want to give her the title shot, but she's definitely fighting for it. Caitlyn, she wants that title shot again.
Yeah, she does.
But Caitlyn, as you said, she'll probably just outpoint Ribas here, because if you take her, outpointed Jennifer Maia, outpointed Arujo, outpointed Calvillo, lost to Andrade with a body hook, so she couldn't do anything about a body shot. Outpointed Shevchenko, Antonina Shevchenko, the worst Shevchenko. She's a solid fighter. She will non-stop be at a distance, front kicks, screaming while throwing punches, let the judge know she's landed. I don't know what Ribas is going to do. He's got the size disadvantage. She got a win over Verna Janaro, but she got dropped in round 1 by Verna, which is yikes. That ain't the best. Then she got KO'd by Marina Rodriguez, where again, as a woman fighter, she's getting KO'd, getting dropped, and then KO'd.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was that the fight where Marina Rodriguez knocked her out twice? Because the referee kind of stepped in, half stepped in, and then stepped out, and then she just got knocked out again straight away. Is that the same fight that I'm thinking of?
Yeah, no, that's definitely the. Yeah, she basically dropped her, and then when she got up, the ref said, "Oh no, the fight's the one," and then she took a shot to the face.
Yeah, okay, that's the fight I'm thinking of. Yeah.
And before that, she beat Mackenzie Dern on the ground mostly, stuffing takedowns, even got some top control. So that's a good win, but Mackenzie Dern was not a finished product back then. And then Randa Marcos and Paige Van Zandt, which are not the best of wins, but they'll do for us. And now I guess, would you say Caitlyn as well, maybe a parlay piece?
Yeah, I don't bet women's either though, but yeah, she should win. She should win a decision. I reckon just bet Chukagian decision. I think you would get a lot better odds on that than just Chukagian straight, to be fair.
When I checked online, I think you get just plus money as well, so plus money on Caitlyn.
That's probably worth it then. Yeah, if you can get anywhere near plus money on Caitlyn Chukagian, then I'd probably take that, to be fair.
And now we got Louis Smolka versus Davy Grant, another Brit. And as well, he's been on quite a run. Even though he's losing, he's got up some good performances for himself. Who are you seeing in this one?
I think he beat Adrian. I think he lost to Adrian Yanez. Sorry, I think he lost to Adrian Yanez, but he put on a great performance in that one there. He definitely opened my eyes personally a lot more than what they were originally. I'm picking David Grant to win by KO, by the way, probably in the first round. But with that being said, Louis Smolka actually ain't like that bad. I feel like a lot of people talk down Louis Smolka. I do think he's a little bit better than the most people think so, or maybe my opinion of Louis Smolka is a bit higher than maybe it should be. But yeah, David Grant, I mean, he knocked out Jonathan Martinez, he knocked out Martin Day. That win didn't age very well, to be fair, and he went split decision with Grigory Popov, but since then he lost to Marlon Vera, who's like a top 5 fighter, probably only 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot, and then went to split decision with Adrian Yanez, one of the hottest prospects right now in the UFC. In fact, just one of the hottest prospects in the UFC right now, to be brutally honest. And then Louis Smolka, he got knocked out by Vince Morales, who's a wrestler, and that was a pretty bad knockout too. I don't really trust that too much, to be fair. And then even then, he lost to Casey Kenny, who's also pretty good. Lost to Mitch now, who's very good. But yeah, what have I got? I've just got what I've got on my notes is that Smolka is quite a big guy. He's 5'9" for the division. He cuts a lot of weight. He's coming off a bad KO loss to Vince Morales, and maybe the chin for Smolka is starting to get a little bit exposed from that weight cut. And I feel like Davey Grant, he lands with the power. I feel like he's probably going to land with enough heat to knock out Smolka pretty early.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. As Michael Bisping said on commentary, Davey Grant throws them overhands from England and back to his opponents. And Louis Smolka, last time I saw him, I had a bet on him. He got completely face planted by Vince Morales, and Vince Morales hasn't really shown. He has power, but he hasn't shown it in the UFC yet. So
not that same way.
So that was quite that weren't the best really, that knockout loss. But Davy Grant had split decision against Adrian Yanez, who I rate very highly. Adrian Yanez won the first round against Cheeto, did all right in the second, but he healed the edges to Cheeto, and then Cheeto just 10-8'd him in the third. But before that, Jonathan
to be fair though, Cheeto always loses the first round. He always loses the first round.
Yeah, no, 100% always the first. Yeah, that's his whole thing. First round, even against Rob Font, any fight he has, doesn't matter how bad you are, you will get him in the first round. At least with a few shots. Lucky as a granite chin, otherwise it would be a bit of a problem. But he's set, and he beat Jonathan Martinez as well, who is doing.
He's making a comeback somewhat.
Yeah. Alejandro, he beat Alejandro Perez last. So yeah, no, I'm not with you. Davy Grant probably knockout. On to the next one.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen to move on to the next one. The co-main event of the evening, a fight I'm very much looking forward to. A fighter, you know what? Like, I'm gonna admit, I wasn't a fan of him because, like, for a while, I just didn't really like Ion Cutelaba for some reason. Maybe it was just something about him. Maybe it was like his attitude, but the way that he puts on fights and the performances that he puts on, it's hard not to like a guy like Ion Cutelaba. Man, I feel like he's gonna knock out Ryan Spann in the first round. Ryan Spann, he very often gets hurt early on, and you can't get hurt early on against Ion Cutelaba, especially first round Ion Cutelaba. That's a mythical fighter. First round Ion Cutelaba. This guy goes insane in the first round.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Ion Cutelaba, recently, I believe he's maybe taken a bit of a turn in his career from his last fight against Devin Clark, who is tough. When I think Ion Cutelaba, he had 2 losses to Magomed Ankalaev, but you know, a lot of people are going to lose to Magomed Ankalaev. And yeah, no, definitely, he's making a turn in his career. As you said, he's powerful. He's got good wrestling. It's just the cardio. That's the only problem. But he went 3 rounds in his last fight.
That's the thing. He managed it pretty well against Devin Clark. Like he went crazy in the first round, and then after the first round, he was able to manage it a lot better than he has in the past. Like to Justin Jacoby, I guess, for example. You know what I mean?
Jacoby's doing all right in his career as well. He's on quite a win streak in the UFC.
Yeah, it's a good win streak. Yeah, he went to He beat Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I believe that's his name in his last fight, but close fight. But it turns out that Jacoby had 2 injured legs, so yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And split decision against I'll probably just say my piece here. Split decision against Sam Alvey.
Yeah, that's all you need to know, mate.
And now we've got the main event coming up, which I am quite excited for. We haven't seen Rakic in a while. Blachowicz, let me just go down. We haven't seen Blachowicz in. Now we've seen him quite recently, but he didn't look the best. And mate, it's his meeting time, 3 minutes 50 seconds. So let's speed run this.
All right, all good, mate. All good.
You first, mate.
I'm picking Rakic. Hold on, let me look at my things. Okay, so Rakic should be able to beat Jan by using leg kicks. Adesanya landed leg kicks, but they just weren't as powerful as Rakic's kicks. And when Rakic lands leg kicks on his opponents, they slow down a lot, man. Like I feel like if he leg kicks Jan pretty early on, he should be able to slow Jan Blachowicz down quite a decent amount. And Rakic lands leg kicks very often. I don't see Jan being able to take Rakic to the ground. He's got great power, but he's 39 years old, and I feel like maybe now is when he's going to start to slow down. And I think that Rakic is also taking his training for this fight very seriously. You see him bouncing around a lot of gyms, training with a lot of good guys. And I feel like if he outlands Jan to a decision, I feel like he's gonna win the fight. Also, I feel like Rakic must count strikes in his head because he always seems to be slightly ahead of his opponents in the rounds, which is why some people call him a quote-unquote boring fighter. He always just seems to be just ahead to win the rounds on the feet. I feel like Rakic is counting strikes where he just knows if he's winning the round or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And personally, I completely get the Rakic, but I'm a big Jan Blachowicz fan. The Polish power, it's took my heart, the Polish power. And his last fight, he looked horrible against Glover, but before that, Israel Adesanya unanimous decision win. Dominic Reyes, who everyone that hasn't aged the best, but he went split decision with John Jones. I don't know. Rakic has. He said I don't think he's boring, but he has been fighting a bit safer ever since the Volkan Oezdemir loss, which I think Obviously, you don't want to lose again, but
A
I
lot
think
of
he's
people
getting
think
a
that
bit.
he won, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's a tough
Yeah,
one.
no, same. When I saw it, I was thinking it was robbery. But before that, he was getting finishes over Devin Clark.
True,
He got the
true.
head kick Jimmy Manuel, but everyone finishes Jimmy Manuel. But
Yeah, actually, anyone
it's,
else doesn't have much of a chin then.
yeah, Jimmy Manuel, age caught up to him. But Jan Blachowicz, I don't know. This is a really tough one for me. If he fights the way we've seen him fight against Adesanya, where he was checking leg kicks, he was putting pressure on, shooting takedowns, and he throughout the fight showed his cardio. I can see a world where inexperienced Rakic, who hasn't gone 5 rounds yet, maybe drops the last 3 or maybe even gets caught early on. But I'll take Blachowicz. I'll take it. Hopefully,
Yeah,
I think he was
I
champion
respect that. We
recently.
can disagree. That's alright.
I've got to get another underdog in there somewhere, and I feel he has a chance of pulling off the upset, beating and getting Rakic out of there. And I do like the plus 135 odds. I feel even if Rakic should be favoured, Jan Blachowicz should probably be about plus 110 at most.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Jan always has the. Jan's got the power to end the fight, so I feel like that's probably pretty important thing to point out, really, yeah.
Well, mate, it says we have less than 1 minute, so we got the card done.
We'll call it there.
Thank you for your time, mate.
That's all
Means
good.
a lot. We got a nice breakdown done. Hopefully the fight's good this weekend and we get to see some finishes.
Yeah, sounds good. Alright, I'll catch you later.
This has been the Combat Station. Subscribe to Artem MMA Analysis. That'll probably be the first thing you find when you search up, and we are out.
Cool. See you later.
Record.